Hi everyone, now I'm going to be tying the Ace of Spades. Now the Ace of Spades is a Matuka type fly, it's got Matuka wing, and I've tied this before, but it was a long while ago, and I get a few questions on the length of the wing, on the Matuka style wing to suit. It's to balance the hook more than anything. Now I've actually picked quite a heavy hook. This is a fully mill, it's competition heavyweight, and you can see this is a size 6 Barbless hook. Now it is a heavy hook, and to slightly balance that you need a reasonable length in the tail so that works together. If it's short and dumpy, I mean, it just doesn't swim right. So a length is something that, I mean, you could sit down, you could write it down on a piece of paper, you could work it out, but in your own eyes that you're looking for a nice form, a nice shape, and a nice balance in the fly. And hopefully I'll get this when I'm tying this fly. Now, I'm going to stick to the original dressing. Now, another question was, in the original fly, when I first started tying, they had a tinsel rib, and as well, to hold the wing, we used you could use wire, or you could use a fine oval tinsel, and that gave you a nice colour. Or some, like for speed, you could just use a tinsel to hold the Matuka wing. I prefer to do both. I like a nice silver rib on the body, and then I use an oval to basically hold the wing, and times it sits better, and it's nice, just a nice balance. Overall, you're just trying to get a nice shape, and as I say, I'm trying to balance it with this hook, and it is a heavy hook, it's a strong hook, so we'll have to sort of try and balance it to suit that. Now thread's up to yourself. It's a black head on this fly, so I'm using the black thread. In this case I'm using 8/0. You could get away with using the 6/0. As you probably know, I use 8/0 for practically everything, just about. But I know there's times where I should be using a heavier thread. So anyway, we're going to start at the eye of the hook. Just start to put some thread down. Now I'm going to tie in the rib to both ribs. Obviously the one is the oval tinsel, that's a small. I've got a medium tinsel, actual tinsel, for the main rib, which I'm going to catch in. I'm going to bind these down. Now I've got this tinsel on my side, I've got the oval tinsel basically on your side slightly, on the underside. And I'm going to tie it, as I say, tie these on the way down, it's much easier. Now this is a nice shape hook, it helps to make the fly. When you've got a balanced hook, it does help. Now I'm going to stick to the original materials as well. I've got a black, this is just a cotton chenille. Basically you've got to be careful when you put this in. It runs a certain way, you can't tie it the other way, or you pull, just like I did there. You can, if you don't tie it in right, you can just simply pull away the fine filth, which is part of the chenille. So we'll bear it, so we can get a nice neat start to the material. It ties in much better. Now the reason I'm tapping is to stop the core coming with the thread. It just pauses it for a second. Now give yourself a good, say, I mean, to balance the fly you need a balanced head as well. It needs to be a reasonable head. And this fly, now this is the first one I've tied in this hook, so I'm looking at it myself. I'm going to give myself about 2 to 3 mil anyway, around about 3 mil just for a head length. Now the chenille, just wind it as normal, just wind it up. Get a nice body. Get to this point, just bring your thread through the chenille. Make sure you've got 3 or 4 turns in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it a length away so that I can bear the core. It makes it easier to take away the fluff and reduce the bulk of the head. Trim that once you're happy, and then we can tighten up. Wax on my thread. Just make sure there's a good base of thread down there. Now I'm just going to fluff out the chenille. Just use my wee brush here. Now we're going to bring my tinsel up. Get it to sit nice. There you go. And then catch it in. Make sure you put a good 3 or 4 turns in at the top, and then you can, because it's a tinsel, I can bend and break it off. If you're using the Mallard, then you'd obviously cut it away. Just take your time. Just rounding the end of the tinsel so it doesn't catch my thread. So there we are. So the body looks fine. So there's our rib. This is what's going to hold the wing in place. Now the cape I'm using, I've got this hen neck. I've got some nice long hackles here. Now what I normally do is I like to take some from, a couple from one side, a couple from the other side, say, to balance the wing. So it depends on how good these feathers are. Do from that side. Do from this side. Just going to bring them together. It's fine. If you want to take the curve out, you can just, once you've lined them up, you just tap it with your nail. I don't know if you can see this. If you just, obviously it's curving this way. If you want to slightly straighten it, you just tap it with your nail. And you can see how it straightens it up. So it makes it easier to sit. So sit at my desk. Do that, line them up. Make sure the ends are there. Makes it easier to tie it in with the curve. I mean, if you can see how much of a curve there, it's really curvy. So you just basically just tap it with your nail, just thumbnail. Just come up the stem and that will straighten it. Don't press it too hard. And there we are. You can see how it's a very bit straighter. And then look at tying it in. So we get the right and the left. You'll see the natural shape. Just bringing these together. There you go. Length, you're looking at least the length of the hook over the back. I'm going to get just a tad more. You can make a space there to see where you're going to tie it in. I want to tie in some of the fibres as well, so that's about right. Now you can make a space here, removing some of the fibres underneath. So just hold the tips and pull away the underside of the hackle, not too much. Check you're still okay. That looks about right. And then we pinch and loop this on the top. 3 or 4 turns, making sure it's sitting where you want. Check the length. That looks fine. Just check the ends here. Checking my feathers here. This one's a wee bit short, so at this point I can pull it. That's fine. Make sure it's nice and tight, wax your thread. I mean, if the wing's slightly off a wee bit, I don't know if you can see that. We can level it up when we bring our oval tinsel through to form the Matuka wing. So making a space at the back here. Make sure they're lined up before we go any further. All I'm doing is looking for the space just to bring through. There's a wee bit of fibre back here. I'm just going to leave it because I like to fill it. You just have to be patient with these. I've got a couple of fibres here that are fighting me, so there you go, that's it. That A lot of people hate tying the ace of spades. I remember tying these when I first started. I used to cringe, used to go, oh no, tying an ace of spade. So what I'm doing here is loosening off the rib. It's just basically manoeuvring the tail to sit properly. And then when you're happy, then you can work your way up. Now your rib is behind the tinsel. It can be right beside it, or it could just slightly behind it. Looks good. I think it looks good, just slightly behind it. You tie it to suit yourself. Just make a space, bring it through. When you're happy, then just catch it on the side of the hook or the eye here. I always make sure it's well tied in. I take the thread right down to the eye. Trim away. Come back up, ready to tie in my throat and my ring. See how things are sitting. Now I think that it looks balanced to suit the hook. Because of the weight of the hook, you need a tail to balance that. If it's too short, it just doesn't seem to work. That's fine, I'll do it. Now the throat is the guinea fowl, natural guinea fowl. Take away the fluff. Now it's just a throat. You could bind the hackle on, but it's just a throat. Just bring enough out, just pull it 90 degrees from the stem, tear it off. You want it towards the point of the hook. I just pinch and loop up the way, so just hold it there, finger and thumb there, pinch the material, the thread, secure it in. Now you can just slightly fluff it out. You can turn it upside down a wee look. That'll do it. Trim. Oops. Again, just take your time and get a nice shape in your head. The head's as important as the shape of the hook. It gives you what it should look like. Now I've got a couple of bronze mallard feathers. Now I've got a right and a left. So I've got 2 or 3 lying on my desk here. So basically I've got, as you can see there, I've got a right and a left. So I need to take fibres from either side. So I take away the fluff. Swing it the best. It's fine. Sit on your desk. Again, take away the fluff. Bring out what you need. Tear it off. Just going to sit and line them up so you can see the underside of the bronze mallard. You can fold down the right and the left either side. Keep it on top of the shank. Just encourage the back end as much as the front here. Just get it. You've got to get it to sit right. So we twist in the here. Just tap it with my nail here just to try and straighten it up. Check your length. Just you want it to taper into it, so towards the back. Nice pinch and loop. Control that thread turn as it can show your fingers. 3 or 4 turns. Sitting reasonably well. I mean that's nice. Once that in the water it will taper. This will swim with the rest of the fly. I mean at this point you can always see where you are. As you can see I'm taking it forward a wee bit to drop the wing. So if you take it forward it creases it near the top. Look, I'm happy with that, so then I can trim that away. Bring the thread to the eye and work from the front up into the cut ends. Just take your time, form a nice head. Nice and tight. Just check what you like. nice and straight. Then wet finish. Now I'm just going to basically wet finish in a long way. It's nice and loose. Going back here because there's a wee bit of fluff there. It's fine. Trim. See how that's sitting. It's a reasonable shape. And then what I like to do, coat of varnish, and then again, if you want a nice glossy black head, use black varnish. After the clear is dry, best to don't put black varnish onto dry thread. I mean thread itself, because it will run. So it will. Put it onto thread varnish. And it'll sit and not run. So what I'm going to do is give that time to dry. Basically that's your ace of spades. Now I've got black varnish. This is it here. It's from Vineyards I use. Now I'm going to give it a good shake. Always give it a good shake. Now what I do is, once I do that, quickly take the lid off. The inside there's a small, in the actual lid itself, there's some black varnish. Now what I do then is just use that to apply the varnish. So I set it on my desk. Start near the head. Now, as I say, once the clear varnish dries, you do this, and it shouldn't run. Just work your way around. Now, once the black's dry, I'll give it a coat of clear varnish. Just take your time. Best to be short of your material, touching it with the black. If you do touch the feather or the sun with the black varnish, allow it to dry, you can then scrape it off. Sometimes you can remove it. And there we go, that's the head, that's your ace of spades, that's it varnished. As I say, that'll dry. And clean your needle, always clean your needle. Steal the toilet roll. I use the wee bits to clean my dubbing needle, but anyway, there we are. See, you get a nice shiny black head there. A reasonable shape in that. The wing's not the best in the world, but it's sitting fine, so it is. You got a nice throat. You've got a nice profile, nice shape. And there we are. And that's the ace of spades.